I do think that one of the biggest unfortunate things that did not happen in the square was a clear statement on the emancipation of women. You know, I don't know whether people have followed the story that at the square before, a lot of women were saw them on television and so on, but when the revolution stopped and Mogura went home, the old backward cultural religious precept around women returned. But before, in the square itself, women were allowed to intermingle with men. They were sleeping in the same spaces. You know, Islam and so on, about the stupidities of separation of people and so on and different. But as soon as the revolution was over, we saw again the emergence. The women were pushed almost back to the kitchen and so on. At the square, as we decree the emancipation of women there and there. You know, another time I make an example that if at the square we make this declaration and we hear some guy has abused some woman between some girlfriend somewhere, we send the complaint that to sort that man out very publicly, very quickly, very swiftly. So the message goes to everyone in society that that thing that we used to do now is no longer available to us. About now, I mean, how we relate to women and so on. Political prisoners, up to now, they are not free. Those serious political prisoners are still in prison. We should have said they must go. I speak about healthcare and other things. Confiscation of land or redistribution of land immediately is very important. And the last point is simply this, that, and I think this is the example of a democracy of the people. You simply say, from now on, we don't wait for elections, we will not have elections, we'll have assemblies. So every community has an assembly. We meet, and you have to go to assembly, you vote in the assembly and you make a decision, we take the next level. The problem is that people are going to say, we must wait for elections. No, we don't want the elections. Now, I don't know if you follow the debates now in Egypt. There's going to be an election tomorrow. I don't know if you know this. Tomorrow is the election in Egypt. They're going to vote on, oh, the president must be there for 2 terms or 3 terms. Oh, when the elections are going to happen. They're not talking about any of the key questions around the distribution of wealth or around, you know, freedom, serious freedom. They're talking about this first generation rights, as people will say. Let me conclude by saying that, and this is the point I made earlier on about democracy, and I'll shut down and finish the conversation, is this. I think now, in the 21st century, we can no longer struggle for democracy. We can no longer say we struggle because we want democracy. You know, democracy is captured by the elite. George Bush captured it. And when it's reproduced all the time, it's never for the majority of our people. The word democracy, and we know it's the etymology and so on, but we can no longer fight for democracy. We have, I want to add, fight for very specific things. Okay, we want free education. We must say the things that we want. We must never call this thing democracy. You know, I'm going to try to find a passage here by Arundhati Roy, this amazing Indian writer, Arundhati Roy. She writes on, and this one is an ordinary person's guide to empire. And she has a chapter here about democracy, which is titled Instant Mix, Imperial Democracy. But I'm just quoting here one question where she talks about democracy and she shares the following. Democracy, the modern world's holy cow, is in crisis. And the crisis is a profound one. Every kind of outrage is being committed in the name of democracy. It has become little more than a hollowed word, a pretty shell, emptied of all content or meaning. It can be whatever you want it to be. Democracy in the free world, okay, says democracy is the free world's war. Willing to dress up, dress down, willing to satisfy the whole range of tastes available to be used and abused at will. Now my friend Zizek also talks about democracy almost in this. The point about this passage is that democracy is captured, it's no longer available to you if one will change. Democracy is a project of power. And Zizek made the same point about voting, and I see somebody in the back of this, there's a quote that comes from a student of Zizek, and it tells the same thing, that democracy in the contemporary society is fake, predicated on illusion that we are together making choices about our best to manage ourselves, an illusion that functions to obscure the fact that we vote for different individuals to exercise power in a state apparatus that is still dedicated to the efficient management of the capitalist economy. Democracy basically means in our time. You maintain capitalism. And you vote elites, different elites in and out to manage the same system. That's what it is. So now we don't want democracy anymore because we don't want elites to run our lives, and we don't want an economic system that excludes the majority. So any revolution has necessarily to be anti-democratic project and anti-capitalist. Okay, I'm going to stop there and then you can ask questions. Thank you.
Okay, this is how it's going to work. I'm going to take 3 hands and then we'll just work it that way. And we've got maybe an hour and about 15 minutes left to have a short discussion. So can I just get hands? Oh, okay. Yes, sir.